So for our next recipe, we're going to be making a smoothie. So really, again, sticking to those high fiber, fluid ingredients, especially for helping manage constipation. So just a little recap and repeat. Constipation can be caused from a variety of different things. It might be cancer itself. It might be your medication. So if you are experiencing this discomfort, first thing to do is talk to your healthcare team, okay? Because it could be caused by certain medications. Maybe you need a laxative. So just something to note. Because we're a cooking class today, we're talking about specific ingredients, and just reiterating that fiber and liquids or fluids are things that you want to bump up, okay? However, it is still important to talk to your healthcare team if having more fiber is something that would work for you, right? So certain people, because of the medications they're taking already, that's not necessarily something that's going to work, so they need a different type of medication or a laxative. And then for others, they might be experiencing constipation secondary to a bowel obstruction. And in that case, they might not want necessarily to have an increase in fiber. So something to talk to your healthcare team about. But if you are experiencing this mild constipation, for sure, increasing your fiber intake gradually and slowly is what you want to aim for, and also making sure that you're, having enough fluids with that. So when we talk about fluids, a lot of people think, water, which is fine. But it can also count as things like soups and smoothies, juice, milk. So today we're going to focus on that smoothie recipe that can help, be a fun way to not only get fluids in, but add in that fiber and perhaps maybe even protein and healthy fats. So take it away, Jared.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna jump into very simple smoothie recipe with the highlight ingredient. And let's do a little game. Does anyone know what this is? It's not an orange tomato. It looks like an orange tomato. It is, if you know what it is, write it in the chat. But it is a persimmon, otherwise known as Sharon fruit is another name for it. Kaki is another one that I know that we used to call it. These you usually see in the winter time, and they are very tasty, very delicious. It's hard to explain. It's like the closest thing I'm thinking is maybe papaya, but it has this nice little kind of sweet creaminess to the fruit. Really tasty. We're going to be using really ripe ones, so when they're really soft, and we're going to be using it in our smoothie. But even when they are underripe and they're a little on the crunchy side, you can slice those up and add them to like a salad to provide a nice little bit of crunch. They're not as sweet, but they add this really nice texture and flavor. So ripe or unripe, they're very, very tasty. Okay. For our purposes today, we're going to make a smoothie. Jeffrey, persimmon, you got it. Yes. I know that the chat's a little delayed, but you got it. So we're going to use them in our smoothie. And what I'm doing is about a cup of the persimmon. You just want to cut off the top layer here and cut them in half. I'll actually show you. Let me cut one so show you what it looks like. And you want to remove the core too, because it's a little rough. It's a little hard. So that's sort of it down the middle. So just so it's a little bit smoother, what I do is I'll cut them into quarters, and then I'll just remove that core like this, okay? If you find any bruising, just remove that as well, okay? Now the skins of the persimmon are edible. Just wash them up. Again, if there's any bruising or scarring, cut that off. If you have a pretty good powered blender, it'll be able to rip right through that. The skin's a little bit tougher than, I would say, like an apple skin. But
yeah, so just to reiterate, actually, the skin is the type of fiber that if you are experiencing constipation, you do want to leave on because that's going to help manage it. The fleshy part yes, it's still in fiber. So it's really up to you. We're adding in other ingredients that will bump up that fiber. So like Jer said, like if you don't have a high-powered blender, it just might be kind of piecey. But if you do, then no problem, like throw it in that blender. But in this case, we're kind of using it also for the sweetness factor. So we're going to scoop it out. But you're welcome to eat the skin, on the side. I know sometimes I used to peel apple just because I like the fleshy part, but I would also, eat the skin on the side later on. So totally up to you. But just know that fiber, the type of fiber that's in the skin is actually the fiber that will help manage constipation.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to add about a cup of the ripe persimmon in here. Cup-ish. I don't know, we're not measuring today. Cup-ish. I'm going to go ahead and add a banana. This is a frozen banana. That's just going to help with the consistency. It's going to make this really nice and kind of creamy, almost ice cream-like. All right. And I was going to say, if you can't find persimmon here, you can definitely, use mango, frozen mango. I mean, that's really easy to find now. You can buy them in bags frozen. And that would be an easy swap if you can't find persimmon. So banana, and I'm going to add a few pitted dates, okay?
Just to add to that, though, Jer, in terms of fruits that are kind of known as the natural laxatives, there include things like prunes, prune juice, papaya, and rhubarb. Okay, so I actually recently found frozen rhubarb in the grocery store. So that's like perfect. You don't have to do anything to it. You would just thaw it, and you can add that totally into your smoothie. And then other fruit like avocado, berries, apples, pears, bananas, mangoes, plums, oranges, grapes, figs, and apricots are also really great. And as I mentioned, leaving the skin on, like things like apples, pears, persimmon, those have more fiber. So just depending on like where you're using it and how you're using it with different ingredients. So I just wanted to add that part in.
Perfect. Beautiful. So we've got the persimmon. We've got a little bit of frozen banana. And then I've added a couple pitted dates just for some sweetness. And then Steph, the dates themselves, they add a little bit of fiber too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So any type of dried fruit is going to add like a nice boost of fiber. And also, this smoothie is kind of more of like a sweeter side. So you're actually adding, some sweetness without including any like maple syrup or sugar or honey. So that's always a plus.
Awesome. And I'm going to add a little pinch of cinnamon in there. That's just because I like cinnamon and I'm eating this. So I'm going to add it. It's up to you. I think it works pretty well with the persimmon actually. And then we can add our liquid. So it's completely up to you. If you want to go with water, obviously you can add water, or you can add milk or milk alternative. And we're going to add about a cup and a half in here. So this should be probably have two. Let's probably give you 2 servings. All right, lid on. Or is our motor on here? And I'm going to mute myself as this.
Cool. So I could just feel airtime. So any type of liquid, whatever you want, is your choice. An oat milk, an almond milk, these are really, really great. Just know that, again, if you're looking for that protein, almond milk, oat milk don't really have that much. So maybe you're better off with a soy milk or a lactose-free milk or a cow's milk. Like it really depends what you're looking for and what you want to use for it. So, if you're using this smoothie as like a snack, I would always suggest bumping up that protein just to get enough in. Ooh, looks good, Jer.
Here's our smoothie. And just so you can see, I know that the brightness might reflect off, but this really almost like, peachy looking color with a little bit of the flecks of the date and the cinnamon in there. Super tasty. And it's because of the frozen banana, it's a little bit almost like that milkshake consistency.
Yeah, and you know what? Adding avocado sometimes, it's also high in fiber and could also add that creaminess. Yeah, it looks really good.
There we go.
Cheers.
And a nice recipe, nice little smoothie recipe, something a little different.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Hey.
That's it. 3 recipes. We did it.
Yeah, we did it.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today.